What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Maverick Man 101. Got a video here today from Casey Zander. Why women prefer men who lie to them when dating. Let's get to it.
Now, you might hear this title, Why Women Prefer Men Who Lie to Them When Dating, and you might think, that does not sound correct. Well, I'm here to give you the truth. All forms of good behavior is typically looked at as weakness and will result in a decrease in her romantic interest towards you. Long story short, telling the truth makes her not want to sleep with you. Now, you might be saying, well, why would that be? Isn't telling the truth good? Here's what actually happens. Overall, most people would consider lying to be bad, okay? Lying is also considered bad. But here's what you have to remember. Women's emotions are also opposite to your logic. So to them, bad usually equals good in their eyes.
Right.
Think about that for a second. To a woman that you're dating, bad typically equals good. And once you're bad in some way, shape, or form, or have a bad trait, now this is the man that she decides to invest emotionally into. So everything that makes logical sense on paper to have a healthy relationship that is real will typically turn them off, okay? And they will typically leave you. Now,
That's a very good point. I think I said it in a previous video, right? Whatever she tells you to do, whatever she's feeling or she says or whatever thought she has, just do the opposite. Do the opposite. And I think he brings up a really good point because it's based off their emotions and their feelings. It's not based off of logic, right? Men tend to be more logical and thoughtful. There tends to be a thought process there, some sort of filter. Women, they just don't have that. And so I think he brings up a really good point with his quote, right? Women's, they just do the opposite of what men consider to be logical. That's a really good point. And that's the whole part around the lying is bad. Going to her and again, part of the reason why I wanted to cover this is because I think for men, at least even for myself, and I have to admit it, once you start to understand some of these things and some of these truths about women, you really start to self-reflect and go through things and really start to think about your dating life and relationships that you were in. And you just really start to see things for what they were and not what you wanted them to be. And so I feel as though even today with dating, a lot of it is, which I really don't agree with. I mean, I think, if you want to go out here and date and try to find somebody to get married to, hey, fine. I don't really think you should. The way that things are right now with this very gynocentric society, the legal system, I just don't think marriage really favors men, nor do I think it favors the children that men want to have. But it is what it is. You believe in what you want to. Just telling you my opinion. It's my channel. But I think that you want to be with these women. You're going to have to play stupid games. It is what it is.
here's the funniest thing about this. Oftentimes, okay, when this relationship dissolves, she will often tell her friends that you're controlling or you're mean, even if you were a great guy. That is typically what will happen. Meanwhile, the guy who is actually bad or has negative traits, she will repetitively make excuses for him and only look at the good traits that she convinces herself that he has.
Right.
So, one of the most important things when it comes to a woman falling in love with a man is when his words don't match his actions and she cannot read him. Think about that for a second. When his words don't match his actions and she can't read him, now she falls in love.
Mm.
So she finds this emotionally stimulating, okay? She finds this to give her a lot of emotional stimulation because she'll see if she can change him. She'll say, well, he's a liar. How do I make him into an honest man? Meanwhile, if you gave her an honest man, that's not fun enough.
Yeah, you just can't make it easy for them, right? You can't make it easy for them. So going up to her, being honest. I saw a video maybe about a month ago where, or maybe it might have been a video of someone reading a Reddit article. Nevertheless, the whole thing was about this gentleman who I believe lost his job. Either he quit or he was laid off. And the woman was basically responding saying that he told her, and she basically just didn't care. Now, I think they were dating for like maybe 4 or 5 months. And she was like, she basically didn't care if he lost his job or, what was going on with him. And the gentleman felt some type of way. And I'm trying to tell these men, like, look, man, and for that situation, they were just dating. They weren't married or anything like that. I don't even think they were living together. But she doesn't care. She doesn't care, and she's looking for that weakness. I think he was really done up about losing his job. And he runs right to his woman. And I know for a lot of men, they're just like, well, why wouldn't I? Why can't I run to her? Don't. She's looking for any sign of weakness, any way to disqualify you, to continue to lose respect for you. That's it. Because you're not her first choice. So you give her that reason. Go talk to your boys. Go talk to your tribe. Talk to your brothers. But running to your girl to talk to her and just be honest about anything that's going on, I just don't see how men ever thought that's how women respect you. By running to her, tell that to your girl. He's bringing up some good points. Let's keep going.
That will become boring. That will become routine. It's like that relationship is already over because she already knows how it will end. And how it will end is her leaving him.
Right.
Because he was good. So, she wants to see if she can change him. She'll also make excuses for his lying or his bad behavior because she feels that she can help him, or she feels like she can get him to change for the better. Think about that for a second.
Right.
So a lot of men, they have these beliefs like women want to bring out their femininity or their nurturing side, but women don't typically do that unless there's a problem. And this is why they fall in love for problematic men who typically create drama in the relationship. So she'll also make excuses for his lying or his bad behavior because she feels like she can help him, or she feels like she can get him to change for the better. Now, all of her amazing feminine, loving, and nurturing traits that she has will only be reserved. Okay, stick with me for a second. These will only be reserved for bad men who appear to be broken. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to try to tell you that it comes down to being high status or high value. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to tell you that it comes to, being a good man who's high status with a lot of followers and a lot of money, and that's what's going to make her want to reciprocate that interest and put effort into the relationship. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's all wrong. All of it.
Yeah, another good point, right? Because, getting her and keeping her are two different things, right? For you gentlemen who want to date, it's different. So yeah, the high status, the height, the looks, all that'll get you in the door doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to keep her. And I think one thing that he's talking about is that conditional femininity, right? Women reserve that for the men that typically make their lives harder. You make her life easy, she ain't got no need to show you any type of feminine energy. She doesn't have to. You make her life harder, and I'm not talking about be evil, right? But you're more reserved. You're not giving her all the answers that she's looking for. You're hard to reach, right? Because you have other things going on. She is not the center of your attention. Those are the men who are typically the more problematic ones that, like this brother said, that's who she gives her femininity to. Meanwhile, you begging her to text you back, begging her to go out on dates, begging her to give you attention, baby, baby, please. Giving up any leverage and options that you have because you think that's how you're going to win her over. It's crazy.
It is wrong. When you look at how this actually plays out in your own dating life, and truthfully, what I believe is probably most men don't have enough dating experiences to actually see these things for themselves. They have to actually go through this in real life, just like I've had to.
Right.
These feminine, loving, nurturing traits will only be reserved for bad men who appear to be broken. Rarely are those traits given to men who are high status or men who appear like they're already perfect. Those types of guys don't get any of her feminine traits or love that she wants to give to him. Okay? Keep that in mind. So all the traits that women claim that they dislike about men, like, oh, he creates drama, he's lying, he never tells me the truth, he cheats on me.
Those are ones they be with.
All of these traits that women claim that they dislike about men,
right,
these are the men that they are loyal to and will continue to keep dating.
Right.
So you have to...
Hey, the more toxic, the better, right? The more quote unquote toxic, the better. She will not leave you alone because in her brain, again, it's about the emotions and the feelings and the excitement. Again, she is the main character in her story. It needs to be a drama. Things need to happen. It can't just be, even keeled. You coming home at 6 o'clock every night, parking in the same parking spot, average Allen, right? She not feeling that. You gotta be able to, if you want to, again, right, playing these games, you gotta be able to not give her what she wants. And what she wants is that control over you, right? Control over your emotions, control over what you do, over your time. When you don't give that to her, or you're elusive, or you're dramatic with it, it rises these levels of interest in her. She can't stop thinking about it, right? Because you're hard to figure out. You're not easy to grab a hold of, right? He's making some good points. Let's keep going.
To remember this. If women are complaining about these traits, they are complaining about these traits because they decided to date these guys in the first place.
Right.
That's what you have to remember. So instead of just saying, oh, she made a bad decision and dated the wrong guy, you have to actually ask yourself, well, what was the underlying reasons why she decided to date him and ghost all of the good guys in the first place?
Right.
Okay? So you'll notice that even if they claim they don't like these traits that you would consider bad, or even that she considers bad, right? You'll notice that even if they claim they don't like these traits, they won't leave.
Right. Right.
So you have to always look at where her actions go. And where her actions go tells you that if she doesn't leave, there's something about this guy that she likes. Okay? So the conversation is always this, okay? It's always, what do I got to do? Okay, what do I got to do to change him so he acts better? This is what she says. She says, what do I have to do to change him so he acts better? Do I need to send him a text message that says good morning? Do I need to make dinner with him? Do I need to give him a hug?
Right.
These are all the things that she will do to men who appear to be bad or broken, okay? Or to men who lie. So here's what you have to know as well. She will only give effort to a man who does not love her. She will continue to sleep with him because she assumes that if she doesn't, he will leave. And on top of that, all of the other men that she could have who would have treated her really well from the beginning, she won't even text those guys back. She won't even give them a text.
Hey man, I think Casey's on point here. I mean, shout out to him. I think that, and again, right, the lies, the deceit, and it's true. Every woman that you hear that talks about men who do these things to her, typically they're still dealing with that man, right? And it's hard because I think a lot of men struggle when they first start to learn this stuff. I mean, honestly, I did. right? Until you start to see things in action, you see things in motion. Women are not like the R&B 90s type stuff, right? If they were, those days are gone. And so to me, it's like, okay, you gotta understand these things. You do. They're hard truths. But men, if they are gonna go out there and date, I think it's important for men to learn and to look at these things, not to be angry, not to be sad, but to understand. Look, I think it was Coach Greg Adams who talked about, like, look, once you understand women, you'll never love them again, right? But that doesn't mean that you are angry, you don't like them, you just understand them, right? And I think that's where men need to get, that you need to understand them for who they are, not who you want them to be. And who they've probably always been. They just maybe couldn't really show it. We didn't have social media in the 40s or 50s, but grandma and yo auntie and all them, they was hanging out too. They was chilling. They was going to the soda social with, the basketball team and hanging out, going parking or whatever it was called. They was out there too. We just didn't see it.
Text message back. Okay, so everybody out there telling you looks, money, status is the answer, this is rarely it. Very rarely do those things actually play a role into her emotions when it comes to who she decides to invest into. And no matter how that makes you feel, you really just have to accept it, because you're going to watch these things play out in your own dating life as well, just like I have had to do, or just like every guy has to do. Right. But it takes a certain level of wisdom and competency to actually learn this. You have to really learn this. And nobody probably ever taught you this. Right. So I decided to. And then on top of that, I created a community with over 1,600 guys in it. And we've been growing this community, and we've been helping them learn the language of women and see that process. So I want you to see that too. Like a week or two ago, we were only at like 1,500 members, and now we're already at 1,600. So I think that that's pretty cool. Now, here's what you have to know. Telling a woman the truth basically says, yes, you and I are on the same level of attractiveness when it comes to our dating value. That's what it says when you tell a woman the truth. When she sees an honest man in front of her, she looks at him and goes, look at him take me seriously. Look at him take me seriously. We are probably on the same level when it comes to our own dating value, and now hypergamy is not satisfied. Think about that for a second. Telling a woman the truth basically says, yes, you and I are on the same level when it comes to our dating value, when in reality, she wants to feel like you could do better than her, and she wants to feel like you are the prize. This is what she wants to feel. So here's my conclusion, okay? This is just my thoughts with this. Here's my conclusion. I personally believe that telling the truth does not satisfy hypergamy. Women seem to only respect men who play their own game when it comes to relationships, and women only consider a man high value, okay, if he remains detached. If you do those three things that I just told you right there, you're going to have a lot better success than most guys. So, these are the main rules to remember when it comes to this video, okay? First and foremost, any kind of updates on your day, oh, hey, my day's going really good, we went to this restaurant for lunch, any kind of check-in text messages where you're checking in with her or you're calling her to see what she's up to, okay? Or you're letting her know what your plans are for the weekend or what you're going to do after work or anything like that. Being honest about what you're doing, okay, or being honest about how you feel in the relationship, this signals weakness, or this signals weak behavior in the eyes of most women, and they will most likely leave you. This is what's going to happen. They will most likely leave you. So the same rules apply no matter who you're dating. There's a lot of guys that are going to say, but Casey, she's different. I think that because she was from a two-parent household and she went to church a lot, that makes her different. But Casey, I think that she's different because she has a stable job. But Casey, I think she's different because she has a 4-year degree from a really good college. She's not.
All right, I wanted to let him cook there for a little bit. Shout out to this guy Casey Zander, I think is his name, for doing this video. He has a little bit of a chat energy there, but shout out to him. I think that he hit so many points, and like I said, I wanted to let him cook. I wanted to let him speak for a little bit at the end of that, for the last 4 minutes. But I think that he had a lot of good points. This is just the games you got to play. I mean, this is just what you have to do if you want to be. And I think he said it towards the end of the video, in terms of, signaling weakness, not being too open with her, not necessarily telling her everything that you're doing. You just don't have to. And it's contrary to a lot of what men were taught, especially, I was 80s baby. I'm a millennial. And a lot of stuff that we were taught from the older generations was, treat them with respect, be nice, be upfront, be a good man, be a good guy. I had to question that. The older I got, I had to question that. And I'm just like, well, why? Because what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is totally opposite from what these guys were telling me coming up. And it wasn't working. It wasn't working. It was getting me left on red, getting me, ditched, girls not showing up. And I'm just like, well, no, I don't think this works. I don't think this works. And so I think he had a good point of like, men have to understand this, and it's hard truths because, your father, your brother, your uncle, your big cuz, a lot of them didn't talk to you like this because maybe they knew, they just didn't want to say, or maybe they were handcuffed because they were married, so they couldn't really tell you. But I think this information is important for men to know if they're going to date, even if they're not going to date. It's still important for them to know, because sooner or later you'll have a younger cousin, a younger nephew come up to you, and they're the ones that are really getting hit with this stuff hard. Those later on millennials, Gen Z, right? 21, 22, 23, those the men who are going to have to marry these women that are doing this stuff, right? So really good video by this gentleman. Shout out to him. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Until next time, gentlemen, and the two ladies that watch my channel, eat well, sleep well, be well. Peace.